Hey guys.
What's up? Welcome back to episode 2. We actually came up with a name. Welcome to the Reformed and Unfiltered podcast, starring
Kayden Vinora's Andy.
and Micah Whiskey. Right? So that's us.
So we have quite the episode for you guys today. We're in the talks about different topics that we could actually do. And one thing that we both agreed upon that was actually pretty important to like us individually specifically, we wanted to talk about culture.
Culture.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yep. So in the modern world today, culture is often affiliated with race. This is going to go very deep right away here.
Right away. Just jump into it.
Jump into it,
Kayden.
exactly. We like to put the two together. It's very much like culture is a part of race now. So I'm sure you guys have heard of like the entire idea of black culture, white culture, that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to say it right now. It absolutely has nothing to do with it. Culture is completely separate from race.
Yeah.
It's honestly kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen like when there's a black person in North America or like in the States specifically that dresses well and like has a normal job and like is a normal person, the other black people say that they're whitewashed. I'm like, being a functioning member of society is whitewashed? That's crazy.
Yeah, and you definitely see evidence of this now with the whole quarter zip trend. That a lot of black people have started to become a part of, like specifically black young men.
Yep.
They started dressing up a little bit more formally, wearing quarter zips and maybe sometimes a tie underneath with a dress shirt. That sort of idea.
Being respectable humans.
Exactly.
You know, saying please and thank you.
Yeah. It's
using inside voices.
Exactly, yeah. and it's crazy to see the amount of backlash that a lot of these people are getting just because apparently it's a white culture thing. When, no, it's just North American higher society type of culture.
It demands respect, right?
Exactly.
When someone walks into a store with a suit, you expect they're going to act like someone who wears a suit.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
You definitely see this going on everywhere. I remember there was one time where I went to a restaurant that's supposed to be a little bit more higher
Bougie?
end. Yeah, just a little bit. Not like crazy. Not like Boston Pizza, but a little
Red
bit.
Robin?
No, Buco's. It's an Italian restaurant. Highly recommend. Very, very good. But yeah, I went with a buddy, and we both ended up going in like we both went in our suits. Just because.
I think I've heard about this before.
Yeah, because why not? And yeah, a lot of the people around us were just kind of wearing jeans and maybe a flannel shirt, like kind of Albertan,
so Albertan.
classy. Yeah,
you know,
the classy Albertan look, I guess.
The unbuttoned flannel.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we go in there and you could definitely tell that there was a different way the employees actually interacted with us.
Yeah.
Like I'd say we got a lot more waiters and waitresses coming our way with different like
bring it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring it back. Bring back the days when everyone walked around in suits, man. Bring it back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I would say we probably got better service because of it. Like
probably.
Yeah, we even got to talk to the manager. Like he was serving us.
But I thought you were gonna buy the place.
People. Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's just the way we stood out completely. It's very much just. It seems to be a little bit more highly respected, and it's very much just a highly respected type of look. And yeah, I do believe that is a part of a higher class culture.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like that was our intent, but it was just we just wanted to go for fun. Like, just dressed up like that for fun.
Yeah.
And so yeah, when we bring this back to the whole quarter zip trend, it's crazy how many people are trying to fight against that because they believe it is a white culture thing.
Yeah, I saw this one guy, and he was like, "You guys, you shouldn't be doing this. You're despising our culture and counting it as less." It's like, what do you mean? That the African American culture of gang violence and murder and drugs and like there are good things that have come out of African American culture, but like a Nike tech is
you look like a crayon.
Yeah, you look like you're wearing a onesie like a Teletubby and running around shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not really a good look. It doesn't say, "Hey, respect me." It says, "Stay away from me. I am armed and dangerous."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what some people want. They want to demand respect. But when you dress in a good way and act in a good way, then you earn respect.
Yeah, exactly. And like back to the idea of
guys were dressed in hoodies and.
This isn't a hoodie. This is just a nice little sweater.
Okay, it's a nice sweater. I mean, I'm just wearing a hoodie, so maybe I'm
this
just
guy.
Yeah, I'm just
at home all day.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, but yeah, and just the idea of how culture is affiliated with race, it's stupid because I know plenty of people who grew up in a completely different culture from us who are still white. For example, my Oma, she came from South Africa.
Right.
She grew up around that culture. Like you walk into her house, there's a lot of like different South African trinkets and like just a lot of different decorations that are just reflected from South African culture.
Probably not a lot of water.
No.
Okay.
There's a lot.
Yeah, my bad.
There's a tap.
There's a tap. Okay.
Yeah, but it's stupid because she is white. She's of Dutch descent,
right?
But she's white. However, she has adapted to the culture of South Africa. Why? Because culture doesn't define a race.
Yeah.
I don't know why a lot of people nowadays are like how black culture and white culture is a thing. There's no separation between the two. There should be. There's a Western culture.
And there are also subcultures. That's a whole
yeah,
thing,
exactly.
Right?
Like you here in Alberta, we got a whole lot of different cultures.
Oh yeah.
For example, we got all the guys who are trying to be like country. They wear their
ones
they wear their boots, their flannel, their hats, like all that sort of thing. And then you got the little bit more well dressed people, like the higher class culture sort of idea with the suits. Sometimes a nice sweater, and then ties, all that sort of thing. And then like especially recently we got a lot of Eastern culture, East Indian, Eastern European, like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Not even European, really. Not. I mean, I guess Eastern European isn't. Ukraine is Eastern Europe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, those are Eastern Europeans.
Yeah, and it's very much just. It doesn't always have to do with a race. It just has to do from where you happen to be in the world and whether or not you've actually adapted to it.
Yeah. Let's actually look at that. So, we, in ourselves, come from a different cultural background, right?
Yep.
So we come from Dutch background.
Yeah, exactly.
Primarily. We moved, a lot of our ancestors, a lot of our friends in our Dutch community moved here in the 1940s, I think.
Yeah.
Mid to late 1940s?
Yeah, like just after World War II.
Yeah, just after the war, yeah. So a lot of us moved there because the Netherlands was paying people, I believe, to go to these different places. That's what I've heard, at least, that they were paying.
Yeah, there was a lot of different things.
There was it was after the war, so it's probably pretty messy. But
yeah, even when Canada just started to become a country, they had things like they offered 100 acres of land for like 10 cents or something. World War II. Yeah.
We were in the First World War, and we were not doing very nice things there.
Yeah, no.
Soup cans.
Yep, grenades.
We rewrote the Geneva Convention. Okay, so we moved here. Our ancestors moved to Canada and became Canadians in the 1940s, really.
Yep.
A lot of us. And we had to adapt heavily. Do you know where I'm steering with this?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
I absolutely do.
He knows what I'm doing. So we had to adapt. In fact, a lot of people that came from the Netherlands, Europeans, face discrimination. This is actually true.
Mm-hmm. Especially in like Irish. Irish people faced a lot of discrimination because they believed it had a lot to do with church history as well, like Catholicism. Ireland was huge on Romanism,
Yep.
and Canada and America at the time was definitely Protestant run.
Right.
A lot of it had to do with different things like religious reasons, but also just basic stereotypes. Like they were also viewed as drunkards and a lot of that sort of stuff,
Right.
which I'm not going to deny. They definitely are big on their whiskey and Guinness.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the Dutch people, when we moved, we faced discrimination too. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So we had some nicknames like cheeseheads and wood shoes because of the klompen. It's a traditional Dutch shoe made out of wood. For some reason, that would hurt to walk in for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Must have pretty hard feet, or they're just really stubborn. Probably
we've grown soft.
Yeah, we've grown soft feet. But yeah, we face discrimination. And
and most people do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just to be expected, especially when you come into another country and you're like, coming into a different culture, and you bringing in your weird culture, you're going to face some level of discrimination. Now, the difference between the Dutch people and what we have now, and you knew I was taking this direction, is Dutch people, we adapted. So very quickly, we realized Canadians don't act in these ways. Canadians act like this, they do this, and we adapted. And in fact, now nobody really even notices that, like we're just Canadian, right? And we listen to Canadian customs. We do what Canadians do. But imagine if we went around giving everybody Dutch licorice, salted licorice, which I guarantee you most people that aren't Dutch would hate. Walking around, stomping around in our klompen and bringing our Gouda cheese everywhere and hitting people over the head with it. That would be a bad thing. So we're talking about culture today, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I really want to talk about is cultural assimilation.
Yeah.
Because there are people from every ethnic background that assimilate into cultures, and they do great.
Yeah.
They do great. I have friends that are every single different color of the skin tone rainbow. You go from a pale vampire
almost
person,
albino.
We both know who we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
To like the darkest person that I know, who I think you also know that I'm talking about. We have a great diversity in people, but we all get along because we act, traditionally Western. And if we do that, then we all have the same moral basis. Yeah, and you have the same ideals as a country. Other people coming in here don't. They don't. The mass immigration in Canada is causing major cultural clashes, which lead to racism.
Yeah, it's just the mass immigration specifically because, back when Pierre Trudeau defined Canada as a multiculturalistic country, it wasn't necessarily bad back then, but once we started accepting like mass immigration, that sort of idea, that's when a lot of it started to happen. Especially today, when racism in Canada apparently has grown by 200% against East Indians specifically.
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's very much just today. A lot of people, specifically in more liberal sort of idea, we have to be very accepting of these people and their culture. When you also look at it, a lot of the reason why these people are moving is because the culture back home is bad. And that's where we have to bring into the idea of there is actually cultural superiority. It's going to be a very controversial viewpoint.
That's very controversial.
But
yeah, exactly. I like to say this: all races are equal in value, but some cultures are better than others.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're bringing up the separation between culture and race, because we get called racist a lot now because we do believe that there is cultural superiority.
But how are you not supposed to believe that? Okay, like you look at other cultures that do terrible things, and you have the right to condemn a culture, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with racism in of itself is that every human being is created in the image of God, right? And therefore every human holds value in the eyes of God.
Yeah.
And who they are, what they're made of, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're still loved by God, right? But what they do matters. And that's why there's some things, some cultures, for instance, Muslims, that, marry children. Are we allowed to condemn that culture? Yes, we are. It's not racist or Islamophobic. There are issues with certain cultures that do things that are reprehensible. And that's an okay thing to say. That should be normalized. But it's condemned. We're not allowed to ask questions or say, hey, I don't like this,
Mm-hmm.
Why are people doing these things?
Yeah, and we have to remember that Canada is built off of a Western ideology where it's kind of just basic innovation. You look at especially Europeans throughout history, they have been like the most developed race in just the world.
Yeah, primarily.
And it's just
there were some in the Middle East.
Yeah,
for sure.
Closer towards Eastern Europe. Yeah, but especially
China
in like Great Britain, they have basically run the globe for centuries.
True.
Just because they were built off innovation, it was just a cultural thing.
Right.
But then
you know where that culture comes from? It comes from Christianity.
Yeah, and I was going to get to that eventually.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun on you.
Yeah, that's fine. But you do look at places like China. Yeah, China did have very good development.
Not that much though.
Not nearly as much, yeah. But then they did also have things like ships, and they developed gunpowder for things like fireworks.
Yep. And
yeah, sadly enough, we did kind of take advantage of China way back then.
The Opium Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
They smoked, the British did smoke the ever-living daylights out of the Chinese. The Chinese did not have that much advanced technology.
Yep.
And I think they're still salty to this day, so it's a bit scary.
Yeah. They definitely are. But you even look at Japan within the past 100 years or so, they have been one of the fastest growing innovators in the world, especially with things like Mitsubishi and a lot of their, like, especially in car culture as well.
Subarus.
Yeah, it's huge. Japanese cars have just been huge, especially in North America.
Huge, but they're small.
Yeah. Because it's built for a certain type of person.
True, yeah. Under 5'10".
Yeah, exactly. But then, you kind of look at what exactly was the change in it. It was because of a more competitive type of
culture.
Yeah, culture, and also just trying to compete with Europe as well.
Right.
Because especially in North America, you had the powerhouse of the United States, who have been the most powerful nation
for a
very long time now, just because of innovation and their industry.
Right.
Yeah, and it's all built off of basically the idea that people can come together and try to build something greater. And when you compare this to places in, like, let's say Africa, there are so many African villages that are still very, very behind. It's still a third world country
because of the culture there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
there's not much thought about the future.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very much just kind of living in the now, and understandably so in some cases, because especially in like northern Africa and in the middle there around like Nigeria, that sort of those places. It's hard to come by certain resources for sure. But then there's also, you have to take advantage of the resources that you have and also try to use that so you can gain more resources. That's why Great Britain was so good at what they did, because they took the resources that they had. They were like they were huge on steel production, which is just basically they took iron and I forget the process of making steel. Iron's like a main ingredient in there, but yeah, they tried to develop in a way that we use the resources now so that we can go get other resources. That's why they were huge into trying to commute all over the globe
because they could get all of those resources.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is why they did so well. But a lot of people say, oh, yeah, well, they just took advantage of all the undeveloped places, and that's why they did so well. Well, no. And even, like, you look at what the Boers did when they went to South Africa. You know, South Africa was completely uninhabited. There had been little to no structure built there. There were only roaming bands there.
Yeah.
There were roaming tribes. They didn't have any, like, stable structure, right? You know, they're not even wood huts. They just went around and then hunted and hunter-gatherer type society, right? The Boers got there and they actually build. They build homes. They build infrastructure. They build wells. They progress, right?
Yeah.
And then they did very, very well.
Yeah, and when we talk about racism in South Africa specifically, I'm not going to advocate for racism, yeah, but they did have a point in them believing that their culture was superior, because you look at the comparison between the tribes that were there originally and what happened in the few decades that
the Boers were there.
Yeah, exactly. There was a huge innovation.
There was a massive spike in it. Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, you even look at South Africa now. When the apartheid was over, Nelson Mandela came into power and all that. You start to see a lot more black people, black Africans, start to go and try to become innovative in and of themselves. But especially after COVID, a lot of white farmers have started to become are becoming endangered, basically, because after the apartheid was taken away, racism was flipped the other way around, where the blacks started attacking the whites.
There's that one party that was shouting recently, kill the whites, kill the Boers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
kill the white farmer, kill the Boers. Yeah, that was crazy that they were doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do believe to a certain extent that does have to do with culture, because yeah, I mean, white people did create the apartheid, which was sort of racist in and of itself. Yes, I will admit to that. However, when it's being replaced by a bunch of people who just want you to die, I believe that's a horrible culture.
No, it is a horrible culture.
Why do you want that?
Because those people actually even built that country. Let's look at Rhodesia.
Yeah,
that became Zimbabwe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want an example about what happens when you have one culture that's a superior culture, sets up infrastructure, sets up, I've heard this one thing commonly. What did Zimbabwe use before candlelight? Electrical lights. So they've degressed, right?
Yeah.
So literally they had the infrastructure. They had houses, they had clothing that was like in mass, easily accessible. People could dress well, you had people walking around in suits in what year was it now? Everybody walked around in suits, so it was probably close to the 40s still. World War II era. I don't know. I'll have to fact check that. But what's crazy to me is that they didn't like that white people in charge. And I will give you this. The people running Rhodesia were slightly racist. Okay, they were slightly racist.
Maybe
but
a little
look
bit more
at what
than slightly.
happened when the culture, the people of the African culture, took over. And it has nothing to do with the skin color. There are many Africans that have a different culture that are much more respectable. But the fact of the matter is, some cultures don't plan ahead. Some cultures just want to take advantage of things, right? And we talked about it. We mentioned it for a second. But the only reason why European culture has been any better is because of Christianity.
Yep.
So I feel like that's a really good transition into talking about that. And
yeah, and I mean, it's very much the Bible isn't necessarily straightforward on the idea of go innovate, become a better society necessarily.
But it gives you the recipe.
It's built more off of values, and
Right.
that's where it comes into play. A lot of these tribes that are still struggling today don't actually believe in God. They have their own pagan religions, a lot of that. And then like even in third world countries, it's you get places like the Middle East where it's very much under Sharia law and Sharia culture, where it's still very, very much behind.
Yep.
And for example, Afghanistan before Sharia law became a thing, it was actually very well developed culture, because a lot of them were like, I gotta say, a lot of Afghani clothing was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, once people like the Taliban came into play, they made women hide their faces and all that, and even in amongst the children, they made the little girls hide their face. That's crazy to me. Though the idea of them wearing a cover was so that men wouldn't look at the beauty and think lustful thoughts. Why do children need to have that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, exactly. It's like, if you have to prevent people from thinking lustful thoughts about children, then you already have an issue, right? Like, what's your culture doing?
It's crazy to me, because a lot of that Sharia culture is built off of a warmongering pedophile.
Yeah. Amen.
It's beyond stupid. Why do we have to accept that as a superior, or not even superior culture, but just a good culture in and of itself
that enriches North American society?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Yeah, I understand that each person still has value, and each race is still just as valuable as any other. But I think it's horrible that we need to believe that we have to stoop down to their level so that we cannot be racist. When we just don't want to accept a culture that's actually like very, very sinful.
No, and actually just morally reprehensible and just wrong and disgusting and vomitous. Yeah, absolutely. All of those things. And actually, what a lot of people don't realize is Islam is not just a religion, not just a culture, not just even a political ideology. It's all of those and more. It is a conquest political ideology. It is a conquest religion. They get converts by coming into the country, taking it over. When they have power, enforcing Sharia law, you can pay to have your own beliefs. And if you won't pay this in crazy tax, I think it's the Jizya. I think that's what it's called.
Yes, I believe so.
Then I think it's like 30% or more. Maybe 40. Anyway, pay a crazy amount just to live there, then you get killed. That's really what it is. You get, there's no wrong in like Muslims believe there's no wrong in murdering people that disagree with them.
Yeah, and Turkey is a big example of this. Turkey was actually a Christian nation beforehand.
Yep.
And then the Muslims invaded. How did they do it? They gained political power. Yep. It's very much a silent religion up until they gain power. And we're starting to see this a lot today. Like even just recently, New York just hired a mayor that's an Islamist extremist.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it's because New York has started to become basically just a Muslim.
There's also that place in Michigan, I think.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the place?
Yeah. I can't remember which place. But yeah, a lot of these places start to gain more and more Muslim population.
Yeah.
And even here in Alberta, we just had no, this was a Sikh. Never mind. But yeah, it starts becoming more and more integrated, and that's when people start to believe we have to accept them. because that they all collectively start to believe that we are all Islamophobes, and then from there they try to gain better peace and all that. And then once it comes down to, once the population starts to even out with the other population of every other person there, that's when they start to try to gain more and more power within that area, and that's when they're going to try and enforce Sharia law. Like even in Texas right now, they're having difficulties with a lot of
Sharia courts.
Yeah, and a lot of Muslims are trying to force different grocery stores, liquor stores, all that to adhere to Sharia law.
Yeah.
Just because they believe it goes against their religion.
Let me eat my bacon.
I like pork.
Yeah, let me eat my bacon. You know,
if you don't want to adhere to our ideologies and our culture here, go home. It's that simple.
There are 53 Muslim states.
Yeah.
Right? Why would you want to move to one that's not and turn it that it is? Because every single one of your countries sucks. It's garbage. And it's garbage because you live there and because you turned it to garbage with your garbage culture and garbage religion.
Yeah, and back to the whole race thing again. We have a friend who was raised in a Muslim household.
Mm.
She left because she didn't want to be a part of that, because there was obviously something wrong with it.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's, yeah, the culture there is just not good.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a completely disgusting culture. Yeah. And there was another country that had that too. Trying to remember the name.
Where was it?
In the Middle East.
Middle East. Jordan?
Not Jordan.
Lebanon.
It might have been Lebanon. I don't know.
Afghanistan, Pakistan.
He's just shouting these out, but I think it might have been Lebanon.
Okay.
It might have been Lebanon.
I can't say
either
that
way.
I'm familiar with
The main method they took over was they used the feminist movement, which is so ironic. They used the feminist movement in this country, and I'll pin a comment, just saying which country it was, so that you guys can go down there and look, because I don't have it on my mind right now. But yeah, this country, they took over using feminists. They started out and they're like, yeah, we want more rights for women, and I don't know exactly how they did it, but they swung the pendulum and they took over, and then the Muslims took over, and they immediately started Sharia. It was crazy.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm actually familiar with that.
You've never heard of that? Okay, I really need to find it out now. But I'll have it in the pinned comment top.
Yeah, and I do want to be absolutely clear here. I do not believe that every aspect of Western culture is a good thing.
No, there are new things, but I don't count those as Western culture things.
Yeah, and that's where the entire idea of subculture comes into play. Because I do believe that there is a difference between what the country was built on and what it has become today.
Yeah.
Because you get different cultures that came in way later, especially after things like the feminism movement in the 1940s and 50s, and then especially after the sexual revolution in 1969 and the early 70s, something else came into play. I'm not saying feminism is necessarily all bad. There are definitely good things that came out of it, but I do think that feminism was also built off of a lot of bad ideas.
Right.
Because way back at the start of it, you get families like the Rockefellers, who were very much affiliated with government at the time. They started funding it because they knew that they could start taxing women once they joined the workforce and they could start to vote.
Yeah.
They funded it, but just because they could get more money out of it. That's one of the
It's a great interest of the government to have more people to tax.
Yeah, exactly, and that's only one of the reasons why feminism isn't necessarily all that good, because a lot of people back then didn't actually look at what all the outcomes can be. And then you also get things like, after the sexual revolution, feminism became all about my body, my choice, and that's where you get things like abortion, and then also just the hookup culture, porn culture, all of that. Feminism is a huge reason why a lot of that is going on today. Why do I have to go outside and all of a sudden let's say I go to the mall. I don't want to see girls walking around in their lingeries. It's like, show some modesty.
Yeah.
But it's just a result of basically the feminist culture.
Yeah.
Because if we want to say anything against that, us white men, if we say anything against that, we are toxic men who are trying to be misogynistic. And how is that fair to us? We just believe in basic modesty.
Yep.
I'm not saying you should go wear a bunch of coverings for your face and all that,
not
like the
Muslims.
Muslims.
Yeah.
No, that's stupid. But basically,
sure.
just reserving your body for you and your future husband, and most importantly, for God and God's purpose.
Yeah.
Even now, within the church, we have a lot of young women who like to wear things like crop tops and
really push that line.
they're trying to find basically what is the extent that I could do this to, and if anyone says anything different, we can basically just call them toxic men.
Yeah.
It's actually stupid. But from what I'm getting from this is you're not focused on preaching the word of God. You're focused on preaching the idea that your body is the only way that you can attract people, and it's where your entire identity is put.
Yeah.
Why is your identity found in your body is my question.
It's like the cultural twist. That's what happened is after feminism, after the sexual revolution, in our current state of postmodernism, we live in a society where you are only as valuable as what you can provide.
Yeah,
which is why they treat men like that too.
As young men.
Yeah.
Because even Chris Rock had a little bit of a speech about this. It's weird that I'm using Chris Rock as a go-to guy for this. But he gave a speech a while ago that there are only 3 categories of beings that are actually loved unconditionally. It's women, children, and dogs.
Yep.
Dogs are like man's best friend. It's kind of hard to say no to that.
True.
And then, especially in the culture today, women tend to not have to give nearly as much.
Except for themselves, really.
Yeah, and I do
for
think...
like one time.
Yeah, and it's very much... I do think that has to do with the entire idea of showing off your body to attract a man. And basically that's what you're giving into it, and you get a lot in return. And yeah, children make sense because they are new to the world. You have to help guide them. And when he got to men, he talked about how a man can only be loved by what he provides. To a certain degree, yes, I do believe in the modern world today that is true. It's definitely a little bit different within the actual church aspect. I do believe that it's found to be a little bit more of a partnership, like the way it's intended to be. Yes, the man is technically supposed to be the head of the household, but then there's also what the woman contributes to help the household grow. So yes, I do agree with Chris Rock when he's talking about specifically the modern world, but it is a little bit different within the church. But what I'm trying to get to is I also don't want the church to be influenced by the modern world, which I am already seeing a lot today. And it's kind of scary when we think about it, because we are commanded by Christ to not be of the world. We are supposed to be separate of it. And when we start to see a lot of the world's ideologies integrate into the church, it's very much threatening to what God has commanded of us.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't think about what they wear or how they present themselves.
Yeah, or sometimes they think a little bit too much about it, which is also a sin.
Yeah. What do you mean think about too much about it? And hold on for a second. You can talk about that. I'm going to grab the rest of my smoothie. Mid-podcast.
Yeah, well, so when I talk about thinking a little bit too much about your what you're going to wear, it very much goes into the idea of what Christ commanded of us when he was talking about do not be concerned with what you wear, what you will eat. For look at the ravens, God takes care of them. That entire passage. I know this is a personal struggle for me, especially now. Like I like clothes shopping. I'm going to admit to that. I like finding decent clothes and actually try to do something about it, because I'm very much against modern clothing today. I want to try bring back some class, but I also do believe that my own personal thoughts about it have also become a little bit too important to me. And yeah, we also have that a lot with, especially in young women today. They think a little bit too hard about what they're going to wear. Who are they presenting themselves to, sort of idea.
Tell me about it. You have sisters and you wait for them to go outside.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's... So that's what I mean about thinking a little bit...
don't even take too long. They're actually, like, good for most sisters.
Nice.
Yeah, they were raised right.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, have you ever been in a thrift shop? Have you ever been in a thrift shop? Have you ever seen the women's section compared to the men's section? The men's section is about, like, yay big. It's a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And one sock. You know?
Yep.
An old yellowed white sock.
Yep. Maybe a few boxers hanging around.
Yeah, maybe some used boxers and like a sweater. Tops, right?
You get like maybe 4 racks of clothing. That includes shirts, sweaters, coats, and pants.
Yeah. And the women's section is a whole, if you can say, an all-you-can-eat buffet from every designer to every little piece of sheen that has ever existed in the entire world. I dare you, or I challenge you, to go thrift shopping and notice how small the men's section is compared to the women's section.
Yeah, and I do think that way back then, men were a lot less likely to go out of their way to go buy a lot of different clothes. I do think that is definitely shifted.
A little bit, but ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Men, we get one thing. We wear our favorite flipping shirt until it flipping rots to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And then we buy something else. I mean, unless you're thinking about gay men buying all sorts of crap.
Yeah, or the very too focused on fashion sort of people.
Mm.
Especially modern clothing. What is with all these really, really baggy jeans?
Oh boy! I mean, it's just as bad as the skinny jeans. It's just the other end of the tree.
Just straight cut or slim fit. That's all you need.
Get some clothes that look good on you. You know, they're like, I can get it. If you have some fairly baggy pants, it looks good. You know, and it gives more space. It's more comfortable. Sure. But man, some of these people could fly. Okay, they could fly away. It's like a squirrel suit. They jump out of an airplane, and I mean, parachute pants is a good word for it. You know,
mm-hmm. They can Mary Poppins.
Yeah, I'd Mary Poppins.
But yeah, we definitely went a little bit off track there. But what I'm getting at is, yeah, Western culture has definitely changed a little bit throughout the past century or so.
Have you ever had a conversation with your grandparents?
I'm not. Yeah.
Why don't you have a girlfriend yet? I'm trying, Grandpa.
No, Grandma. The ladies don't think I'm handsome.
No, they don't. It's not as simple as bike up to her door, ask her to marry you that same day, and give her a ring. It's like, no, you gotta flipping take her out on 5 different dates, bare minimum, to 5 Michelin star restaurants.
That's modern, yes.
That's modern dating for like 99.999% of the girls I've ever met.
Yeah. In the modern world, yeah. I would like to say church is a little bit different.
Unfortunately, no.
But it's, yeah, like I said, it can be pretty slightly bad. Influenced. It's getting worse.
Yeah. A good way to tell if you should avoid a girl is if her top music artist is like Tate McRae or Taylor Swift.
Where is this coming from?
Or Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, now I see where you're going with this. Okay, yeah.
And I blame those people for cultural shifts.
Celebrities are definitely a huge reason in a lot of today's problems, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's...
I would say the equivalent for guys is listening to a lot of rap music.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a lot of guys who listen to like really grotesque rap music, just, speaking in a very vulgar way about women. That's not going to produce a good type of guy. It's going to produce an arrogant, cocky loser.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the same, you feed your mind. When you put in your mind overflows from your heart.
Yep.
Right? And if you're consuming content that, some of these lyrics of these songs, I can't even say, okay? But you know what they are, okay? You've seen it. You can see it. You know what it is. It's normalized, the cheating, the drama, I mean, look at women's films. The Notebook. Oh my goodness. There's this
cheating,
guy,
Titanic, cheating.
Exactly.
Hallmark movies, especially. Since when was that a huge thing? Big city girl who has a fiance, goes back to her small town home, meets up with one of her old friends, leaves her rich fiance to join this flannel-wearing douche just because, he helped my grandma.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
but
what?
You forgot. She's still engaged to the guy when she goes and makes out with him and sleeps with him.
The big city guy comes to the small town and sees how much the small town guy and big city girl are enjoying each other's company. Oh no, guess what? Engagement's going to be off now because she's basically dating this other guy. I'm sorry. That sounds like we are trying to push a normalized cheating culture.
Yeah, absolutely. It is just cheating culture. It's just promoted that. And you wonder why relationships nowadays don't work? It's because of what you consume.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find somebody who doesn't consume crap. That's really what it is. If you find someone who doesn't consume crap, then they won't produce crap. It's like their idealization of romance is not going to be cheating on someone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If the girls, ask your girlfriend her favorite movie, or ask the girl that you're talking to her favorite movie. If it's a Notebook.
Or her favorite music artist.
And then ask her favorite song from that favorite music artist. And then ask her what she thinks of certain lyrics, Like, ask questions,
And it goes back to the holding each other accountable thing that we were talking about last episode. It's very much just not only are you trying
to... We can say that now. Last episode.
Yeah, we can.
Kind of cool.
But, yeah, it's not always about what do you get out of it, but it's also trying to help each other grow in faith. And when you don't hold each other accountable for certain things, it's not going to be good for either of you. Because you can ask someone, why do you listen to Taylor Swift? Well, her music is good. How about all the times that she has basically self-proclaimed being a witch?
Yep.
I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen the video or not, but there are literally videos of her going out and saying that, oh yeah, I am a part of this, a part of being a witch and a part of witchcraft.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video?
I haven't, but what I do know enough is that all evil is evil. And if you're singing certain lyrics, about wood and thighs,
her new album was,
if you're singing certain lyrics or saying, it's not just limited to curse words, it's innuendos and things like that. And you're just like, da 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 da, adultery, la 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 la.
Yeah, and it's not even just restricted to just basically pop music and rap music. It happens in country music all the time as well.
Oh, it does, true.
It talks about basically different types of sins when it talks about, oh yeah, I'm gonna go drink away, go get drunk to lose the memory of her.
Made a girl who had a man.
Yeah. Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen.
Huge on drinking the pain away.
Yeah.
Drunkenness is a sin.
Or however the song goes.
Yeah, and it's even affected our young people today. My graduation party, there were people drunk within the first half an hour. They're puking just because they had so much to drink within the first half an hour.
Holy moly.
I'm sorry. Since when did we ever accept that sort of culture into the young people at church.
The Apostle Paul would have a fit.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, when was this such a big thing? Yeah, I understand it happened in the past. I understand that, yes, we are sinful, but that also means we have to try and better ourselves as well. Why do we, amongst Christian people, literally just when we're hanging out with our Christian friends, why do we have to go get drunk?
Yeah.
Why do we commanded that we don't, because we have to be sober-minded.
Yeah. Amen.
It's baffling.
And people don't really people don't really think about that. They just kind of block it out of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to call each other out firstly when we see it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the difficult thing, is like holding each other accountable when we see each other in sin. And that's a very difficult thing, but that is something that has been lost in our culture, in church culture. And the Bible clearly says it. You need to talk to them. If you actually care about them, you need to talk to them, right? And that's really tough, because their eternal life is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
You'd go to hell for that.
Yep, and you're also going to be judged on why didn't you say anything.
Yep.
Because if you're being a silent bystander, you're just as guilty as the other person.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
you're gonna have a fit if someone's hitting your mom. But like, as soon as it comes to someone, desecrating or disobeying God directly while saying they're a believer, then you're not gonna have anything to say about that. Like, get your priorities straight. Get your priorities straight.
Yeah, we as professed members have literally said that we're going to try separate ourselves from the world. And the crazy thing to me is, we had profession of faith only basically a month before graduation.
Yeah.
And within that month, and right at the end of graduation there, I can remember specifically 2 times where I heard that there was a party where there were a bunch of people getting drunk and smoking and all that sort of stuff going on. This was before graduation. And then when graduation actually came around, half the class is getting drunk within the first half an hour. Like, it's baffling to me. You just professed, not even a month ago, about how you're going to try to be different.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. I talked to different people about it while while I was there at the party. Why is it so intriguing to us? Well, we're young and we got to learn. Well, there are certain things where you don't need to try out. It's the same thing that we were talking about last episode. Again, we can say that. Where, yeah, we should try a bunch of different things, but there are certain things that we shouldn't need to try because we already know it's sinful.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand
the end result. Whether it's like nobody's like, okay, I'm young, I need to try cocaine, I need to try fentanyl. It's like, no you don't.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me because there are different ways that our body even shows us that it's wrong. What happens after you get drunk? What happens the next morning? You have a hangover. It's your body's way of telling you shouldn't have.
Why are you throwing up?
Yeah,
because you're poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to go smoke a bunch of cigarettes. Okay. Get lung cancer by the time you're 60.
Yeah.
There are different bodily reactions that even tell us if there's something wrong with it. It's even the same thing with things like stress. Yes, there's good stress, but then there's also too much stress. What does your body do when you're too stressed out? It starts to shut down.
Yep.
I've experienced this too. I've put way too much on my plate. I was doing way too much. I was not getting enough sleep just because I was too focused on finishing a bunch of different projects, taking leadership roles within different organizations, just within the school there. And then there were certain days where my body just told me, stop, no, you're staying home. You're going to be sick for 2 days or something. Like, my body just shut down.
Yeah.
Your body has a way of telling you whether or not there's something wrong in your life. And even in different things like maybe pornography, your mind starts to change in different ways to show that something is wrong about this.
Yeah.
For example, when a man starts watching pornography nonstop, starts to see women as objects, that sort of thing. Well, your brain has basically been rewired to think that. That's just a consequence of an action taken.
Yeah.
It no matter what type of sin we take a part in, there will be a consequence to not only just around you, but also within your body.
Yeah, there will be damage.
Yep.
Because you're doing something that goes against nature and goes against what God has ordained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah, and that's normalized in our culture. But, I mean, yet nobody will say, like, certain things. You know, there are certain things that are still taboo in our Christian culture. But.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, things like sexual sin.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one within the church, I do believe. It's very much... Yeah, I think it's gotten better recently. A lot of... sermons that I've sat through within the past 2-ish years, I think, is definitely getting better. Like, they started to talk about it a little bit more. And, yeah, Reverend Bauman of Ontario, I forget which church he preaches at, he came to Emmanuel Canadian Reformed Church 2 weeks ago, I think, and he actually had a very, very good sermon on sexual sin. And I do think it's gotten better and better within our circles about how do we approach this. But yeah, it is still very much taboo. It's a hard topic.
Yeah, nobody wants to say, hey, you know, getting drunk, you could go to hell for that.
Yeah. And
it's like, it just, once again, it's like, you're spitting on God's image. It's like, why are you sinning? Mm-hmm. And that's not to say, like, we're not coming from a place where it's like, hey, we're perfect and like, oh my goodness, look at them, they're such bad sinners. That's not at all where we're coming from. We're coming from, why is this normalized? There are no other sins that people will do that are like not spoken about. You know, if somebody comes into church and they are like, you know, like they're a professing member and they're like, yeah, I want to do, you know, do homosexual things. People are going to be like, hey, you know, that's wrong and that's not with what God says. That's so easy to say. But as soon as it comes to someone drinking crazy amounts and throwing up and damaging their body and damaging their mind and making a buffoon of themselves that could cause them to commit other sins like adultery and, you know, endanger other people. You know, you could get in the car and you drive somewhere and you crash. Why is that so normalized? You know, it shouldn't be normalized. And that's where our issue is with it. We don't like it and it's not good and we need to fight against it.
Yeah, and actually on the point of we would never allow people to just profess out in the church that they want to do homosexual things. Something that I've also noticed, especially going to high school, is that a lot more we have started to make jokes about being gay.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
When was that a thing? Like I can remember a lot of specific moments where some guys got together and decided to pretend to be gay. Like I've seen guys grab each other's butts. And
that's really gross.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, why? But then, as soon as it comes to seeing a gay person in a movie, it's like, no, that's bad, no. But literally 2 days ago, you decided it was fine to go pretend to be a gay man.
So yeah,
why?
There's no shame or no thought in that. Yeah.
Just because you're joking around doesn't mean it's not a sin.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my goodness, I'm joking around. I'm gonna kill this person. Oh, whatever. You know, don't do that. Stop.
It baffles me. It's like I can't comprehend it. When did pretending to be gay become an acceptable thing?
Yeah.
It's yeah. So let's say I as a joke I'm going to say that abortion is fine. No, I guarantee you I'm going to be shut down and told off. Like, no, you don't joke about that. It's the same thing. It's still a sin, no matter what. Why? True. What has changed about it?
True. That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are normalized that people need to give more thought and think about. All of us. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I do think that has been an effect of a cultural influence. That's where I do believe that there are good cultures and also bad cultures. And I do think modern Western culture is a bad thing.
Yeah, it's twisted, it's wrong, it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and like we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, we need to start separating race and culture so that we can actually point out a sinful culture and say, no, it is wrong. We should not be accepting this. And it's very much the same thing that we have to do with different cultures today, like modern culture.
Yeah,
and
like, the individual.
That is wrong. We should not be accepting that. It's yeah. I don't have much more to say beyond that.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's something.
Mm-hmm.
That's something for sure.
Yeah.
Culture is affects us in every single way.
Yep. Because it's something that you identify with,
and it's something you're forced into. You know, to be part of something, you're part of a culture of it.
Yep.
You go to the gym culture. You have a workplace, there's a workplace culture, you know?
You're into cars, car culture.
Exactly. Everything has its own culture and subculture, you know? And every country has its culture. And
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to talk about real quick, if you have the time for it.
Sure.
Yeah. We've just talked a lot about culture and the issues with different cultures.
Okay.
And that some are better than others. So one thing that I've often tried to think about is, how do we improve our culture? You know?
Within the church or young people or?
Everywhere.
Everywhere?
Nationally, internationally, the world. It starts at a small level, so it starts with the individual, I think.
Yeah.
And you need to break culture. You need to break culture. You need to break out of your own culture and not do what's culturally acceptable, but acceptable in the eyes of God. Right?
Yeah, and that's the most obvious answer to that is having a biblical culture.
Yep.
Like something that is built off of biblical values and biblical morality.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's definitely the most obvious and first step. But how do we enforce that without being like the Muslims trying to overtake the world?
Well, are you talking about from like a national level? Because I'm just saying like what an individual can do.
Oh, from an individual level. Well, yeah, be more involved in your church community for sure.
And that doesn't just mean go to the church events. Okay? I don't think you mean that.
No.
But it should not just be that. You know, being involved in the church community is when your friend says, I'm going to commit this sin, you do is it Matthew 18?
I believe so.
You do Matthew 18. I think it's Matthew 18. But you do that and you say, hey, no. Are you a Christian? Do you believe in God? Are you going to commit a sin? No. You shouldn't do that. And honestly, I kind of had an issue. I was very shocked. You were talking before about drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that I know was talking with me, and they said, at the PICS thing, at the school thing, I'm going to go get drunk.
I know who you're talking about.
And I was like, what?
Why?
I was almost baffled. I was like, why would you do that? And he's like, well, you know, I want to go do it and try things. I'm like, that's a stupid idea. And I wish I had spoken better. I wish I had said, brother, you are putting your eternal life on, like, at this line. You're saying, hey, you know, Jesus, by your actions, you're saying, hey, Jesus, you know, I know you died for me. I know you died for my sins, but I really want to try this sin. Okay, so let's hold off on doing what's right. You know, I can't be bothered to serve you for a bit. Instead, I'm actually gonna, you know, go commit this sin. And I wish I had said that to him. That's what you're doing, you know? Instead, I was shocked because he was openly saying, I'm gonna do this sin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And which is ridiculous. You shouldn't do that. No.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is they know it's a sin. Like they know they should stay away from it. Like they haven't tried it before. However, they know it's a sin. why are you going to go put yourself in that situation then if you are already aware? You're basically just confessing to God that I know you are upright and you are perfect. You have laid out basic laws for us to follow. However, I do believe I'm better and I have a better understanding and I should be allowed to go try different things out even though I know it's wrong.
Yeah, and that's not something you should be doing. Yep. That says to God, I don't want to serve you, you know? And I don't think that's a Christian attitude. I think that if the fruits of the Spirit are there, then that's not a fruit of the Spirit. You know, when you publicly come out, you've done your profession of faith. When you go and say, I'm going to commit this sin, there's a difference between a personal sin where you're doing something you should not do and it's hidden, because then it's something you're justifying to yourself. When you justify it to others and you come out, you're making a profession of faith that you want to serve yourself and Satan more than you want to serve God. And you need to repent.
Mm-hmm.
If you're actively saying that, then you're saying you're living in sin because you're making that profession, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more that I can add to that.
Yeah, just going a bit ham on that.
Yeah, and I mean, when it does come to personal sin, it's not necessarily more justifiable. You do have to have repentance from it as well. You're not going to be condemned just because you have, like, for example, a pornography addiction. You're not necessarily going to be condemned to hell just because you have that addiction.
We can say that will happen, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you have a true repentance and you're actually trying to better yourself from it. That's where that individual sin needs to be addressed. And yeah, the best way to actually try to get over a personal sin is when you actually do go talk to someone else. Like, get accountability for it.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. And confess it, right? You
Mm-hmm.
confess it. You can confess it to God too, but you should confess it to God regardless. But yeah, you know, there's a difference between someone who sins and says, that was fun, and someone who sins and was like,
I'm sorry, God.
I'm sorry. I failed and I made a huge mistake. Right? Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference in that. You know, when you fall on your knees and you beg God for forgiveness, there's a massive difference between that.
Yeah, can you pray in that moment? If you can stop what you're doing and pray in that moment, are you able to confess to being a believer and say that I love you, Lord?
Mm.
That's just, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. So, yeah, that's something.
Yeah, I think we covered most of the culture talk.
Yeah, a lot of culture talk.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Kayden's new microphone stand. It's oh, you're gonna. Oh shoot! Holy moly! That's
We're good.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
I just wanted to do that.
You just wanted to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you want to say?
Some of you might be wondering what's going on with my arm.
Oh yeah.
Most basic answer is ice is slippery. Yeah.
Ice. Yeah, he slipped.
Mm-hmm.
Hurt his hand.
Yep.
Went to the hospital.
Yeah, this guy and Ben Muse actually joined us.
Yeah, true. They did. Mm-hmm. They did. We did.
Pretty fun.
I did.
Brought me some chicken nuggies and a milkshake.
We did bring him chicken nuggets and a milkshake. It was very good.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very culturally nice thing to do. Yeah.
Cultural decency.
Cultural decency. You know, Christian love over there.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what's our time right now?
I have no idea.
You know?
But if we have nothing else to cover.
And we could end it right here.
Yep.
thank you guys for watching.
Yep. Thank you for checking out our channel, Reformed and Unfiltered.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself. And I'm not really sure how to continue on with this outro.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.